Context of White Supremacy. Gus T Renegade in for another program to share constructive information on white supremacy, racism, what it is, and how it works. Thank you everyone for tuning into the program. Today is Friday, June 17th, 2011. We will be back tomorrow. Again, the goal is to broadcast every day for the month of June. We are fundraising. If you find the program to be of constructive value, please invest. Would definitely be helpful to continuing the program. If you think it's constructive. If you don't think the program is constructive, definitely check out somebody else's broadcast, start your own, work on your own projects. We have way too many problems to be wasting time. You can invest. PayPal link is in the description right here at TalkShoe. Also, you can share the program. Make sure as many non-white people as possible know about the cows. If you think it's constructive, have access to it, know where the links are. Mr. Fuller will be joining us this Sunday. This actually will be his 13th visit. You listened to the last program. Last time he was on this program, I was saying that was his 13th visit. I got confused. He's been so generous with his time. He's made so many visits that I got confused about the number of trips he has made to the cows. But this will be his 13th visit this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That would be Sunday, June 19th, so-called Father's Day, they tell me. No holidays. We are staying on the counter-racist grind. We actually will be back tomorrow as well. Professor France Windance Twine, she will be on the program Saturday. That would be Saturday, June 18th, 2011. We'll be discussing her book on what she terms interracial relationships in the area of the world known as Britain. Cowbell. Really looking forward to having her on the program. She's a black female. I'm not sure if she has a white parent or not. We'll find out. Very interesting book. I've read some pieces from it on the program before. Yeah, looking forward to having her on the program and talking more about her book and white supremacy. That'll be tomorrow. Tune in, have some questions, staying on the grind. With that, we will begin with this program. The whole purpose of this broadcast, you talk about white and dangerous. White women, in my opinion, in the workplace and in general, but I would say especially on the workplace, they are one of the most dangerous animals on two legs in the universe, in my opinion, in the workplace, for a myriad of reasons. I don't really want this to be a program where people just call in to share horror stories about how they've been victimized by white women, although I'm sure some of those will come up. My hope is that, number one, non-white people, especially black people, non-white people and especially black people will, number one, realize, man, the awesome threat that is white women on the job. And I mean, these folks are extraordinarily dangerous. White people in general, yes, they are dangerous at all times. They are at war with non-white people worldwide. However, on the job, white women especially, they are extremely dangerous. And if we're talking about codification, 2011, we should have an extensive code that is effective at dealing with racist women at work. The hope, people can kind of share to see if there's some common things. That would be good if we can kind of piece together our experiences, see if there's some common things that we should be on the lookout for on the job with white women, some of the common traps, problems that we have experienced, and then codification. I know some folks have already called in and discussed some of the strategies and techniques that they use with dealing with white women on the job, things they say, things they don't say, things that they do. I know Mr. Nero has long been an advocate of not spending any time alone with white women for any reason. And definitely think that is constructive, making sure you have other people around, witnesses, and things of that nature, just for your safety. But yeah, I hope that that's what is accomplished with this program, that victims will not underestimate white women. I know a lot of people spend time talking about the man, and white men definitely. I'm not saying that they are not to be concerned with. I'm just saying that I think a lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of victims underestimate the damage that white women can do to you on the job, male or female. So with that, I'll share some thoughts, experiences that I've had, things that I think victims should be looking out for. I'm real eager to hear from other listeners if they have codified suggestions, thoughts. Real eager to hear from them. So with that, I will hit the phone lines and start bringing people on. If you would like to participate, just dial in. You can use either number. Both lines are open, the free HD line as well as the TalkShoe line. The Skype line is open as well, so if you would like to use Skype, you can dial in over at Free HD. I'll give that out. This information is in the description at TalkShoe, so if you're listening at TalkShoe, you can just look there. You'll see the number, the Skype line, all that. I'll give it out one time right now, but yeah, feel free to dial in. I'm gonna hit the phone lines right now. The number, if you want to dial in over at, if you want to use your Skype, the handle that you can dial to is free conference call HD .7676, and the code is 564943. Just dial that in if you want to use your Skype. The number is there as well. I'll give out the number one time really quick. The number 760-569-7676, and the code, same code, 564943 pound. If you're listening to the archives, you can write that information down, and it's good for any of the future live broadcasts, white people permitting. But yeah, you have the information. Alrighty, I will begin checking. I guess I'll go to the folks at TalkShoe first, and I'll then migrate to Free HD. Again, if you want to participate, just dial in, and we can get rolling. I actually will. I'll start. I don't know if this is the gentleman, because it's more than one person that calls in from Massachusetts now, but I'll start with the person in Massachusetts to see if this is the black male who had called in and was kind of the idea for this program in the first place, talking about some of the wretched experiences that he has had with trashy and terroristic racist women on the job, and some of the codification that he has put in place to neutralize the terror of white women. I'll check caller in Massachusetts. Is this the black male who's called in before?
Can I be heard?
Loud and clear, sir.
Yes, sir. That was me.
Outstanding. How would you like to be referenced, just so we'll know from this point forward?
And use my real name. My real name is Anton.
We will do it. Anton, thank you so much for calling in. Really appreciated, your input, particularly around the codification. I think that's super important. What this is all about. If you, I don't know, if you want to kind of set the tone, like I said, I think this was all your idea. If you want to kind of set the tone in terms of some of the things you experienced on the job that, made you get serious about codifying how to deal with white women, I think that would be a great way to begin.
Okay. Basically, when I was less confused, when I was more confused, very white identified, always looking for validation, especially from racist women. And I mean, I think that really goes back to grade school. That's when I was first exposed to them. So I think that carried over into my adult life. And just always look for validation, whether it be through, trying to be funny or just being, I wouldn't say being a buffoon, but just being foolish and trying to get attention. I think that's how it began. And once I realized that I don't need their validation, then I said to myself, well, I need to codify my behavior just for my own sanity. That's how it began. It's just for my own sanity, because I would go to work and just feel emasculated every single day. So I decided to codify, because that was the only that was the best alternative. But just to start in regards to the situation, one of the major situations that I'm dealing with right now is in regards to smiling. I'm the only non-white male, or black male at my job, and I'm in management, so all eyes are on me. And I used to smile all the time, again, to try to get that validation, but now I turned it off completely. I don't smile. And now I see that racist women, what they're doing now is they're smiling at me even harder, like purposely to try to get me to smile. In other words, they want me to make them feel comfortable, and they're going the distance in order to make that happen. So at first I tried to, or I attempted to stop smiling, and it seemed to work. But then today, for example, I was called Smiley. And when I heard that, I instantly thought of Pam in the Trojan Horse book. And I ended up talking to one of the racists today, and I told her, I was like, I'm not going to be smiling all the time. That's just not natural for someone to just smile all the time while they're working. And yeah, if anyone wants to see what her response was to that, to me telling her that I'm not going to smile, and that, me asking her, why do I need to smile all the time? Or why are you calling me Smiley? Check Gus's Facebook page. I put her response on there. She found me on Facebook to respond to me. And basically she was just saying, just smile. Hey, being serious is overrated. You don't want to be serious. You want to smile, have fun, have a good time. And that just shows me right there what Racist Woman is all about. And that's just a little piece to start. Just the smiling piece. We got to stop smiling, because all we're doing is making them feel comfortable, and at the same time killing our self-esteem. That's basically what it's doing.
Oops, I muted my line. Sorry about that. I was, wow. Serious, I'm glad that came up early in the program, the importance of being serious. The importance of being serious. And I think just keeping in mind, white people, this is your opposition. This is your enemy. These are the people who are at war with us. All areas of people activity, regardless of whether they have a gun in hand, a bucket of candy, a Bible, naked. These are the people who are at war with us. 24/7, all areas of people activity. Did you get the impression? I want to get some of the other folks that called in too, and this is not just restricted to black males, non-white males. I feel like black females, white women are just terrorists on the job. Period. Definitely feel like black males definitely dangerous, but I don't think white women are too kind to black females either. So I definitely want to hear from everybody on this one. But did you get the sense that white women, that they were conscious that you were seeking that validation, soothing lotion, if you will? Did you get the sense that they knew you were seeking that from them and were, looking to provide that validation?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They can tell. They can tell either way. They can tell when you're looking for that validation, because when they can see it. They can, it's like a scent. Like, they smell it and they come running. I mean, at one point in time, I had almost every female in one department, like, bringing in baked goods.
Damn.
Like weekly. Like, yes, they can tell. They can tell right off that. Just like they can tell when you're being serious. It's so blatantly obvious, and you can just tell by their actions. But yeah, they can tell when you're trying to get that soothing lotion, which I have done in the past. And they can also tell when you're being serious, because they'll ask you all the time, "Oh, wait, why aren't you smiling? Hey, what's wrong? What's that?" So, yeah, they can tell.
Context of white supremacy. That is my suspicion as well. That white women, they know. They know, as Pharaoh Winfrey says, they know what they've done to you. They know what they are doing to you. They know what their brothers and cousins and nieces and nephews got in store for you, 100 years down the road. They're very informed. Wow. I'll go to the phone lines to see if other folks, I definitely want to hear codification as well as we're kind of going along, but I kind of want to hear some things that people think we should watch out for. Because nobody told me this. Nobody told me anything about, now when you go on the job, white people in general, very dangerous. Look out for this. Nobody did any of that. And I mean, at this late date with Emmett Till and Kobe Bryant and this disaster after disaster with black males and white women, no one ever said it. Now, when you go out, these white women, extremely dangerous. Don't flirt with them. If they flirt with you, do not. No one told me anything. So I'm hoping, this will help correct some deficiencies. And as I said, I would like to know some things, common trends, things that, it seems to be a pattern. Look out for this. And then some codification. What should we look out for? I'll start checking. There are a lot of people on the phone line, so if more people are calling in, I don't know if we can get everybody on. You might have to actually press *8, so I'll know who the people are that are just listening and who the people are that actually want to speak. Matter of fact, let's do that now. If you want to speak, press *8, and if you are just listening, no worries, you can hang out. But press *8 if you want to actually talk. The person... Mind Depth. Okay, thank you all for following directions. Mind Depth and Washington, D.C., your lines are open. Okay, Pam got you as well. All right, so Pam, Mind Depth, Washington, D.C., your lines are open. We'll go with the females first. D.C., did you have things you wanted to, and I especially want to hear things you think we should look out for, trends you've noted. I think that would be really helpful.
Well, let me just first start out with the scenario of when I was more confused, or probably very confused. My first job after graduating from college. And I'm going to set it up kind of like in skit form, so to speak. And I'm calling it the indoctrination. And indoctrination on Wikipedia is the process of making ideas, attitudes, cognitive strategies for professional methodologies. It is often distinguished from education by the fact that the indoctrinated person is expected not to question or critically examine the doctrine they have learned. I want to repeat the last part again. It is often distinguished from education by the fact that the indoctrinated person is expected not to question or critically examine the doctrine they have learned. The challenge doctrine, you would have science calls for critical self-evaluation and scrutiny of one's own ideas and stance outside any doctrine. A quote by Noam Chomsky, he says, "For those who stubbornly seek freedom," I'll codify this later. "For those who stubbornly seek freedom, there can be no more urgent task than to come to understand the mechanisms and practices of indoctrination. These are easy to perceive in the totalitarian societies." I'm going to codify that in the white supremacy, racism, global system. Much less in the system of brainwashing under freedom to which we are subjected, and which all too often we serve as willing or unwilling instruments. And I say that because since I was more, I did those quotes and that definition of indoctrination, because when I got out of college, I went to a predominantly white university. There was a few of non-white people, very few Asian, very few black people. And I basically knew all the black people on the campus. So, but I wanted to believe that there was no such thing as racism. I just let my hard work and determination, be my factor in my life. So when I did this job, and I actually was snapped up immediately at a job fair by a racist man and racist woman. And the racist woman was the co-director. She was like the head female director. And the racist man was the owner of the company. So I worked there, and I got to know the people, and I stayed quiet. I was very shy most of the time. My first 6 months there, because that's the probationary period. So when I got to the probationary period, and I talked with the person who was responsible for the interview at the probation period, she was a racist woman, the one who snapped me up from college. So she said she's very, let me set her up. She's a very, very, very well-refined, stealthy with words, racist woman. At the time, she was probably like mid-40s, had 2 kids. Her husband also worked. Well, basically, her first comment, she basically said, "I'm stellar. I'm giving you all, good grades, 4s and 5s. It was from 1 to 5. 4s and 5s, you're really, really good. You're very thorough. I'm really, really impressed with you. However, you're too quiet." And I say, "I'm too quiet?" And she said, "Yeah, you come in, and I know you come in and you're nice, and you come to the meetings, and you're nice, and you sit there, and you're quiet. You don't have anything to say. You probably need to figure out how to say things, in general." So, being inquisitive, and I'm like, okay, well, you just said that, and I'm assuming that's a flaw. How should I practice not being quiet here at the workplace then? Now, she was not expecting me to ask that question. So the first thing she came up to in her mind was something which she would probably say to another white person, which is, "Oh, well, you should start to go around to your coworker's desk and say hello and converse for about 15 minutes about, it doesn't even have to be about work. Just talk about, soccer and a movie, and just get to know people, and you can go back to work after 15 minutes. So I said, okay, so who should I just talk to? She said, just talk to your neighbor, talk to your receptionist. You can talk to me if you want to. If they're not busy. And I said, okay, all right. You know what? Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe I should start that today. And then she was more flabbergasted when I said that. She was like, oh, okay, all right. You're listening. You're taking my advice. So, so I made a plan. When I went back to my desk, I made a plan of how I was going to succeed in not being so shy. So there were about 40 people in the office, and I made it a point. At some point in time in the next 6 months, because there was going to be the annual review, next 6 months, I'm going to talk to every single person in the office, some way, somehow, just to do some chit-chat, to break the ice. Now, fast forward 6 months, which is the annual review, the first thing that the same racist white woman said to me, she noticed that I had, come a long way from being so shy. And, you still have really stellar performance. And she also noted how people enjoyed working with me and how easy it was to talk to me. And I, in a non-threatening manner, so to speak, I told her that I wanted to succeed in this profession, and I'm going to take her words very seriously. Then she kind of backpedaled and said, "Well, maybe you shouldn't go too overboard with talking to people then." Yeah. Yes. Let out the snickering, please, because she really, backtracked on her advice to me now. Now she's seeing that I'm succeeding. And then she said, "Well, since we're getting busier, you're not going to have time to talk to anyone as much as you did before." And I think that's the end of that scenario. But that was my first taste. But I was more confused back then. I still thought it was me that had the problem. I was so confused. I was beating myself up. I'm like, well, I did something wrong. Maybe I talk too much, or maybe she's going to think that I talk too much, and that's going to bring down my next annual review. But I'm very scientific in how I think, and, I kind of looked at it in terms of the scientific method, and I said, okay, if I ask the question, if I follow these instructions of the racist white woman, will I succeed in the company in the next 6 months? And my hypothesis at the time, more confused female, black female, I said I will succeed with this company because my professional skills will be more refined and I will succeed. So my procedure was to talk to everyone, at least, everyone within the next 6 months, talk to at least 2 people a day, make sure the director notices that I'm doing this. Make sure that I keep the banter brief, and make sure I look cute along the way. I had to have the cute shoes and the cute skirts and tailored skirts, suits and everything. Observation. Director notices that I'm talking to everyone during the course of 6 months. She doesn't look phased at all at the time. She was very, very stone-faced the entire time. Number 2, I'm getting more confident. As I'm talking to more people, I am instinctually, I'm just getting confident in general. I'm feeling good about myself. I'm feeling good about the world. I feel like I can succeed. And then my vocabulary improved tremendously. I'm using bigger words now. So my attire, my clothes all were fashionable. And I always got people wanting to work with me. So I'm thinking, okay, that's my observation. My results should be good. Okay, my results. I was told that I now talk too much. I had to tone it down. I just had to do the work that is given to me. Number 2, director changed their mind about me being more assertive and less shy. Number 3, after the stone face of 6 months, her face is worried. She was confident 6 months ago about me when she told me that advice, but now that I've followed her advice, she's kind of tentative around me. She doesn't really want to talk to me. So in conclusion, the system of racism, white supremacy, they didn't really believe that a non-white woman could be constructive and have a can-do attitude or make adjustments to become better in my profession and what I do. In essence, a non-white female, we're not supposed to be to threaten a higher position person. She did not expect me to ask questions, but about how to become a better worker. An addendum to my experiment, I continued to work there for several years without a promotion. Still had stellar reviews, still had stellar everything. I didn't get a promotion within the several years that I worked there, while other racist white females who were less experienced and younger than me were made managers just because they asked to be managers. And when the non-whites, it wasn't just me, other non-whites had asked to be managers, the same people who were my age and even a little bit older, we were told, and I quote, "Having a title isn't anything special." End of quote. The end. So I tried to be as codified as possible. And this is when I was more confused, mind you. But being more confused doesn't mean that I'm not logical. Being more confused doesn't mean that I don't know how to feel that I'm mistreated. But yeah, that was my first indoctrination into how racism, white supremacy operates. And she was a very, very stealthy, very cunning, used words like a lawyer. She always took business courses to help her become a better manager. And she vicious, just vicious. I mean, she was very calculating. So it was almost hard to hate her because she seemed like she was doing you a favor. You know, at that time I was working with more women. I don't work with as many women now. In my profession, we don't have as many women. But at that time I was working with more women. And I don't want to really go back to that again. But, yeah, that was my indoctrination into, with the racist white female who's very, very refined.
Thank you kindly for sharing, caller in D.C. Context of White Supremacy. Again, if you want to dial in, feel free. If you're at TalkShoe, you got to press star 8 because there are already quite a few folks on the line. So if you can press star 8 if you want to hop on, I can get you. Free HD line is open too, so I can get people there. Pam, and then I'll get Mind Depth. Pam, if you want to, and again, I want to try and pick out things that you think victims should look out for. These are patterns that you've observed, or if you've done research and you know that other non-white people have experienced this, things that victims should look out for in terms of conduct, the racist code of white woman. Pam?
Good evening. I have a lot of stories, which there's not enough time to share them all, but I would say in my own personal experience that the overwhelming majority of white women that I've had to work with have been largely racist and very, very sneaky. I would say it's really common for them to smile in your face and stab you in the back. And they'll stab you in the back for no reason. Well, they'll stab you in the back because they're racist. And I've worked for corporate America, worked for the government, and it reminds me of a particular story, real short one, where I was doing some technical work, and the white female, she was a top manager. She comes over to me and asked me to make some copies for her and hands me some papers. Now, my job had nothing to do. I was not a secretary. I had nothing to do with any clerical work. But she decided to single me out and give me this stack of papers and asked me to go to the Xerox machine. Well, I went to my supervisor and I told him what happened, and he said I didn't have to do it. So I would say that they appear to be very threatened, particularly if you're the type of black female, who either is attractive, more attractive than they are, or is not particularly subservient. I mean, there's just so many stories, but what I would tell basically, if I was going to say what you should watch out for, in my opinion, is a white person that tries to, particularly a white female, that if you're a black male, and this is my advice for brothers, is if white female, what they'll typically do a lot of times is they'll make negative comments about black women, as though they're trying to poison you against black women. Well, right then and there, you know you're dealing with a racist. Just don't, you know, I mean, the temptation may be to be flattered, but there's nothing flattering about it, because what is she saying about you when you're not around? I find a lot of white women, they're very aggressive, and they're almost demanding. I remember a guy that I worked with, there was a white female there. Honestly, she almost looked like a man. She was short and pudgy, had her hair cut, looked like she put a bowl on her head and just went around the bowl with scissors and cut her hair. The white guys, he totally ignored her. And so she decided to go after this black guy. And she would come on to him real strong. She would bring, she'd invite him over to her house and say she's going to fix him a meal. And she was as racist as they came. So I'd say a white female who is very aggressive, the aggressiveness is not flattering. The aggressiveness is a demand that you submit to whatever her demands are. So I would say watch out for white women who are very aggressive, because if you decide that you're not going to go along with it, she can turn vindictive, and she can literally get you fired. I've had different people send me emails over the last couple of years about their experiences, and one that I got was from this black man who said about 3 years ago he used to work for a printing company, and his boss was this 40-ish white female who kept hitting on him. He would flirt with me, try to be alone with me. One time when no one else was around, she pulled her pants down and let me see her you-know-what. It wasn't sexy, it was perverted. I told her, listen, I'm a happily married man. I love my wife. When she realized I was flat out rejecting her, she grabbed my ass and said, you're fired. So I have a friend, as a matter of fact, who the Megatroid's code on dealing with white females, my friend of mine who has been in corporate America for a long time, he said black men have to be really careful about totally ignoring white women, because you can get fired. You know, so this same person had some colleagues who were from India, some male colleagues, and I think I told this story before on Cows, and that was they were being harassed by the white females on the job. These guys worked in IT, and they were being harassed. And this one Indian male said that he had a white female boss, and she told him in so many words that if you want to keep your job, don't walk away from me. And these guys from India were saying basically that these white women were trying to destroy their families, trying to get them to get involved with them, and these guys were all married, and they had children, and they were saying they would have to leave these companies because they felt the pressure. So I would also say watch out for white females who seem competitive and insecure. Now, I know brothers who are dating white females, and when black women come around, their whole demeanor changes. They become insecure. They become very guarded. They become very, well, I mean, what does that tell you? You know, if you're going to have children with a woman like that, if she doesn't like black women, why are you going to have children with her? What if you have a daughter? You know, how is she going to be toward a black female that she gave birth to? So I would say a white female, and this is mostly I'm giving advice to brothers who refuses to talk about race, or honestly about race, or who portrays white people as victims. And you'll hear that a lot. Well, white people this, and women are more discriminated against. And there's another story somebody sent me where this guy, he was told he had to put on some kind of costume. In other words, they were having some kind of thing at his job, and they wanted him to wear a mammy outfit. And he didn't want to do it, so he went home to his white wife and told her about it, and she basically just kind of brushed it off and said, well, you know, you should see what I go through at work. I have it a lot harder than you. So a lot of white women will portray themselves as these victims of sexism while they're practicing racism. They'll even portray black women as meanies, bullying them, and they'll act like black women are so mean to them, and try to get the black male's sympathy, try to convince black males who were jealous of them. So that would just be a couple things. As far as black women are concerned, I don't think I have to inform black women of what they have to deal with white women on the job. And the thing that bothers me is that sometimes brothers will buy into it. Well, the white woman is oppressed too. He's oppressed too. And you guys have no idea the kind of turmoil and stress and horrible behavior that white women on the job express toward black women. I mean, it is, it's just not to be believed. Some of the horror stories that I've heard, some of the things that I've experienced. The only thing I would say is don't get confused about the sex. Remember that racist man and racist white female are on the same team. You can't separate them. You can't say one is worse than the other. They're not worse than the other. As a matter of fact, white women are moving up the corporate ladder faster than anyone. And black males are getting kicked off the ladder. Black women are getting kicked off the ladder. So I believe what the white female wants to do is she is in a competition with the white male, and I believe she wants to take his place. She doesn't want to eliminate racism. She wants to eliminate the barriers of sexism. And she wants to run it. So she wants to be in his shoes. I believe that's why she's becoming more and more aggressive as she goes up the corporate ladder, which means she's going to mimic the same behavior of the white male. So I would just say when you see a white female, just see a white person. Don't try to make a distinction between her and a white male because you are wasting your time. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Yeah, this is Lucy. I was just wanting to know, have you seen the differences
Are the differences between I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. Hello, could I be heard?
Yes, you can. I don't know what happened to...
Can't hear. I think her line might have gone out.
Just while maybe DC is getting back on, I wanted to share share an excerpt from my experiences with racist white women, if I could. This is my depth. This has actually happened recently. I currently work for a Japanese-based organization. But in the U.S. is predominantly white, probably about a handful of non-white.
You are muted. You are unmuted.
Employees that I work with. And recently we had one of the biggest conventions that we had.
Man! Am I being heard?
Hello.
Okay, I was.
Hello? We haven't heard anybody.
My mic is going in and out. Am I being heard?
Yes.
I can hear you now, but we didn't hear anything after I finished talking. I didn't hear anybody but the one caller.
Okay, I was chatting away. Okay. Things should be corrected. I'm not sure if I got muted or something. I was sitting here like I don't understand. Anyway, I was going to go to the next person. I actually had two comments, and I was going to go to the next person that called in was Mind Depth. So that person, I kind of wanted to get all the folks that wanted to share in, and then if people had questions about anything they heard, you can just write them down. You can take a second. Just write them down if you have questions. DC and everybody else that had a question, just write them down if you want to ask anybody or question anyone about anything that they've shared. Before I go to Mind Depth, I did want to make sure, number one, just to highlight what Pam said, you cannot underappreciate a group of people that have no problem using sex as a weapon of warfare. White people are very skilled at that, and I know non-white people do not understand anything about that, especially black people. Being able to have sex with someone that you have total intent of destroying this person. We do not understand anything about that, and white people understand how to use that. I would say especially white women. But I mean, that's not really anything I would argue about. Point being, I would say expect that sexual thing to pop up. I've just seen that repeatedly. Expect that. I think white people know, especially white women, they know how to manipulate people with sex. I think that's something women are pretty skilled at, but especially white women. They are very good at manipulating behavior with sex. And I think when you bump into someone who is seeking validation and confused about racism, man, I said before, it is about the equivalent of Kobe Bryant playing basketball against a 7-year-old developmentally delayed child. They do not call that a game. That is charity. That is about the size of it. Anytime a white woman is giving you some sexual attention, and I mean, they are so good, man. They are surgical about it, and I mean, especially if you look like you want to say something bad about black females. You look like you want to go, oh man, they really, oh man, they will. I mean, Mike Tyson KO, they will be waiting on you. And I would say that applies to non-white people in general. If you act like you want to be saying, yep, I don't like those non-white people either. Really? And they might even take the opposite view. They might, hey, wait a minute now. Racism is, I mean, they are so skilled. Just expect the sexual thing, and I mean, really, it has got to be a rock solid part of your code. Do not talk black males, do not talk bad, do not say anything bad about black females in the presence of a white woman. Like, never ever. I would say non-white people in general, but especially that one. Like, yeah, and expect the sexual thing. Like I said, I think white women, they are very skillful at manipulating behavior of males with sex. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Mind depth, feel free, and if you are on TalkShoe and you want to talk, it's *8. Mind depth, go right ahead. DC, you should be there.
Can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, this instance actually happened over this year, in the beginning of the year.
Oh, if I can get in one thing, I did want to make sure that we are codified and making sure we're giving out things that, victims should be on the lookout for in terms of the conduct of racist women.
Exactly. So this year, in the beginning of the year, my company, predominantly Japanese company, obviously in Japan, predominantly white here in America, we have one of the biggest conventions every year in Vegas. And I was there on business, and we had a number of different after parties, if you want to call them that, during the course of that convention. And I was at one of the after parties, which some rapper was there on behalf of our company, and a DJ, Funkmaster Flex, was there too. And all of the racists were there and very excited to see. I think it was Flo Rida or somebody. He was supposed to be there, and Funkmaster Flex. So I get to the venue with another non-white coworker, and we get there, and there's drinks and a whole bunch of coworkers having a good time. I expected, first of all, the event to be a certain attire, and people are there. The white people are there in whatever they want to wear, and all the non-white people are business casual and everything else. But while there during the evening, this white female came up to me who works up in L.A. as some
somebody. She's somebody, but I don't work with her directly in my city. But she comes up to me and says, "Oh, you're dressed very nicely." She's younger, probably early 30s, and she begins to flirt with me. But, and I've been in this company for 3 years, and again, this is at a time where I'm still more confused. So it was kind of interesting because she was openly flirting with me with other white coworkers around. We were all in a circle, and she's flirting with me, and she knows. She asked me, where I moved from Cali from, and all this other stuff, and I let her know I moved from Georgia, and she started to break out in this country accent, and again, still flirting with me, and very, very interesting. I thought I was being at the time. I thought I was being punked because her behavior was very weird, especially around the other white men that are directly within our circle that she's flirting with me. And I mean, hanging on me, kissing me on my cheek, just very interesting behavior out in public, especially with it being a work event. So anyways, the evening ends, she disappears somewhere. The next day, I'm working our event, and she comes up to me and she says, "Oh, it was really nice meeting you. It was really great meeting you." And I was like, "Oh, well, it was very nice meeting you as well." And I'm in my mode of networking and whatever, and I'm like, "Well, we should definitely, since you're kind of close to the area, we do a happy hour or something sometime or whatever." And I really wasn't trying to come on to her or anything like that. But she said, she said, yeah, sure, just go ahead and call the office. And then she left. And it was actually it was very interesting. And what I took out of that instance, now that I've starting to realize how the system works and everything, is you have to be very careful with white women who openly will try to identify themselves with black people. That'll try to make themselves seem like they're quote unquote, the term we used to use was down. That is very dangerous, and those individuals are usually more dangerous than any. It was just interesting from her behavior, and there was a lot of behavior like that whole weekend, actually, from white women. And I'm starting to, figure out more stuff as I start to go back into my mind about it. And actually, during that night too, another white female coworker, Funkmaster Flex, I guess, ended up after he was done with his set, came upstairs to where we were at, and one of the white coworkers that I know, female, she quote unquote got his number, and the whole night while we were there was saying, "Oh yeah, I'm texting him, and yeah, I might go to his hotel later," and all this other very interesting stuff. And I'm like, "Why are you telling me this? What is the point? What are you trying to gain here?" But yeah, that's the end of my story.
The people that called in, if there are other folks who have examples of things, and we're talking about specific conduct, racist code that you have observed that non-white people, victims of racism, should be on the lookout for on the job. If you are on TalkShoe or the Free HD line, I can pick you up if you have specific things you want to share. Person in Texas, I will. Okay, got two, California and Texas. I'll go in the order that they popped up. So Texas, and then California. But it's *8 if you want to share, *8, and I will check the Free HD line as well as Talk shoe. Okay, so it'll be Texas, California, and New York. Texas, California, New York. That'll be the order we go in. Texas, your line is open. Go right ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, how you doing, Gus? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm driving, so hopefully I don't lose you guys. This is Cleo. And the advice that I would give, I can relate to the gentleman who spoke first, who was saying that he's the only black in his office, and I'm in that position as well. One incident that I can share, I mean, there are many I can share, but you just have to. My approach to white women is, of course, as Pam said, to recognize them as a part of the racist, white supremacist system, to not communicate with them at all in any level of intimacy or concern. I believe there's a certain aura you put out. The job I'm at now, I recently transferred, actually to New Orleans, and there's a white female there who, I guess you could say, she would be considered one who has a body like a sister. But I would notice the copy machine sits right outside my office. But I would notice how she would always come to the copy machine and make sure she positions herself, where I can see her. And it wasn't necessary, because if she didn't put herself in that position, I wouldn't see her. But my approach to that is to ignore any advances from white females. Because there is the old adage that I believe white females think that every black man wants a white woman, and no black man is considered to not be a part of that particular opinion until you've proven yourself not to be. And she would, like I said, wear tight jeans and, walk past my office on a regular basis and, try to make small conversation. And in my mind, the first thing I thought about, this woman's trying to get a lawsuit. If it was already apparent that she was not too happy with her job, her position at that time. So I looked at it as, she's trying to get me to make some sort of advance and accuse me of sexual harassment. But, being more conscious and aware of the vices of, racist man and racist woman, I just choose to ignore them. I don't care what atmosphere you're in. We have to learn as black men that we give out a certain aura when we're trying to be too comfortable. Just like the guy was saying when he invited the young lady out for a happy hour or something like that in an effort to, network. Those are things that we just can't do. I deal with a lot of white females, building managers, things of that nature. And I just stay professional with them, regardless of how nice they try to be. And because I already understand that most of them think that I am attracted to them, and that that in some way they are the object of my desire. But I don't look at them when they position themselves, their bodies in a position for me to admire. And I make sure they know I'm not looking. Because I can see them in my peripheral. I don't have to look up at that individual and give them my attention. I know they're there, and I know their motive. And even if it's not their motive, I still choose to just not look at white women in any way that gives the appearance that I am admiring them. Even if they are so-called attractive, which I find it, very, very hard to find white women attractive because of how I feel about whites in general. And even though that's what I work around. But we just have to make up in our minds that these people are unattractive to us, black men in particular, when we're talking about black men and white women. I've never had a white woman come to me and talk negatively about a black woman. And I believe that's so because they know I'm married to a black woman. They know I have black children. And they know that that I hold myself up as a black man who doesn't tolerate foolishness. You know, I've never had a white woman do that to me because, for one, I don't give them the time of day. Even if I'm in a social setting, at a bar or anything, and there are white women around who are talking to other non-white individuals, i.e. black men and women, and they may try to make small conversation. I just turn my back on them. I ignore them. Because there's nothing for us to really talk about. There's nothing casual that we have to say to one another, as far as I'm concerned. Now, if it's business, we can talk business. But anything beyond that, you know, I mean, of course, there's a common courtesy that we have to give as a professional, you know, the hi and the how are you and everything, things of that nature. You know, I'm not saying you can't be courteous, but you just have to really limit your conversation with white women, period. And then they'll come to understand who you are. Whether they know who you are really, but one thing they will know is that you're not a guy that they can tempt. It does not mean they won't try again eventually, but I just think we have to set that. We have to set that standard. We have to set that example, and we have to give out that aura that, you know, I've even on occasion told my white coworkers, males, when it was necessary, I'm not attracted to white women, and I have no problem saying that. When they talk about how hot, you know, this individual is, I'm not moved at all. You know, if something's on the television in the break room, or we're going to visit a customer, and you know, because white guys, that's what they do. Oh man, you got to see her; she's hot. You know, immediately I know she's white. You know, I make it known. You know, I'm not attracted to white women, and you know that. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and you think she's hot, then she's hot to you. So I just think we have to set the standard for ourselves. We have to be mindful of the aura that we give out. And I think a lot of the stuff that we experience as black men dealing with white women, because it's very easy for that woman to think that this guy was inviting her out on a date. You know, when he asked her out for happy hour or invited her happy hour, even though he had no intent of that. But those are just little things that we have to codify within ourselves, that this is how we're going to deal with white people, and particularly white women. I believe like they are very, very deadly. And I think we work I know for me personally, because I don't work around black people, sometimes when you work around black people, it makes it easier for you to be codified, because most black people aren't codified, and when you see how they conduct themselves, it reminds you how codified you have to be. And in some environments, when you don't work around blacks, you know, where you work around a bunch of whites like I do, and I'm sure like the gentleman does who spoke earlier, you're going to find yourself slipping. But you have to constantly, check yourself, because you don't have that, other side of that example. I'm pretty sure people understand what I'm saying when I say that. When you're working around other blacks, non-whites, particularly blacks, it's easier to remain codified, because they're going to always remind you how you don't want to be. But when you're working around whites, you have a constant barrage of whiteness all around you, and they're always trying to get you. They're always trying to catch you slipping, and they're always doing what they do. So we have to just set up standards for ourselves. The only example I could use that really got me was a real estate agent. who was a white female, and was trying to sell my house. And she came along, and I ain't gonna lie, she got me, you know. And it was a reminder once I figured her out that, man, I was slipping. She came to my house. She made a great presentation, you know, and I never heard from her in 6 months. Had to call her and get feedback. But, you know, I was slipping. So we have to just take those lessons and chalk them up. Like they say, charge it to the game if that's, you know, if you want to use that. Because to them it is a game, you know. And that's really it. You know, I just keep myself completely in a negative mode when it comes to white women in particular. That way I don't give the aura that I'm interested. That's advice that I would have for men. That's pretty simple and easy. You don't have to think too much about it. You just do it. You know, as white sacrifice, as Mr. Neela Fuller says, that it's like saying sick 'em. That's really it.
Always good to hear from you, Mr. Khalil. I can leave your line open if you want to hang on. That way, once everybody finishes up, if people have questions or more to share, you can comment. If you can watch the background noise.
Yes, sir. I'll mute the line.
Alrighty. Going to California next. If you have question, if you want to, comment. If you have things that you think victims of white supremacy should look out for on the job. With regards to white women, you can press *8 and I can get you on. I'm going to check the free HD line as well. Caller in California, your line is open.
Greetings. Can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I got a couple examples of working with white females, and I was just thinking about how to start. I guess I could say that I've been running experiments on with white females for a long time, and I remember this one case in particular where we were working out of state, and we had basically half the hotel was contractors, and basically, this is what I call either the springboard or the jump off. We had this one, basically watch out for, becoming a springboard or a jump off. We had this one blonde, white female, she was a contractor too. She was in the hotel, and she was basically trying, she was getting the most attention. I'll put it like that. And so I was telling my roommate, and he was older than me, black dude from the South or somewhere. And I was trying to explain to him, after all these experiments that I ran, basically kind of understanding the power dynamic and whatnot, that she's trying to use you as a springboard. Because he was like, we was making money. He was spending a lot of money, and he wanted to, get everything. I got that. He wanted to pay for everything. So I told him that, watch out for, becoming a springboard, not just, being somebody that's, giving up all your money. But what I seen that she was trying to do from the start was she was trying to play the black against the so-called Latinos, and the particular Latinos that were in the hotel that was with us, we were getting along and everything, but they were leads. They were like the heads of projects. You know what I'm saying? We had a couple of black leads, but they they lived in that particular area where we were, so there wasn't really no leads in the hotel. It was just like contractors. So I was trying to explain to him that, you know, she's trying to get in favor with these Latino leads. So don't let yourself be used like that, because she tried to, you know, we would come home from after work. We would come to the hotel after work, and everybody, you know, we go get some food, and then we'd bring drinks back to the hotel and whatnot. And you know, they the white girls get drunk and stuff, and be in everybody's room and stuff, you know. And so I'm basically this is not nothing new. Like if you're gonna you know, have a springboard, I mean, I'm perfect for it, you know what I'm saying? Because she felt like she could flirt with me and, you know, get the Latinos to, and I was going to lose control over her or something like that. But really, I already, you know, I have in my mind that I'm not attracted to white females from a young age, you know, from my grandmothers and stuff like that. So I basically used like a couple of experiments to show the power dynamic. Like what I use is that, like, I either ignore them or I'll stare, you know, or stare at them. I guess what I want to say is that it's a power thing. You know, they feel like they have control of you. So what I try to explain in this job and in other jobs is that you can take control. You can lead them around. If you know, I'm trying to show them, and they're older than me, so they seeing, you know, when we get to the job, like I'm showing them, like, watch this, boom, I stare, and next thing you know, she's all coming around, bending over, doing this and that, you know what I'm saying? And then I totally ignore her, and then she's not knowing, like, wait a minute. And then she's doing all kind of things, like, out of character, like things she shouldn't be doing. Like she shouldn't, you know, be disturbing you while you're working, or she's jumping around and she's doing crazy stuff. So it's like, look, here you go, right here. You know what I'm saying? She felt like she doesn't have control, so now she's lost control. So I'm saying, you know, I'm trying to show them, but I don't know if it really, I don't know, it didn't really get through, but it did in the end when I don't know if it got through or not, but I think it was because of my age, or just because of who I was. But I would say that if you can take control back, it's not about just ignoring them. I ignore them, and then sometimes I'll stare, especially if I'm trying to make a point to another coworker. When I see white females trying to take power, I show them that you have to take that power back. We're dealing with a power dynamic. They're trying to get you to lose control, and what you do is for an instant, you feel like you're out of control, like you can't take your eyes off of her, and then you just totally ignore. Then that's taking your power. You know what I'm saying? You're taking your power, and I've given examples to people of things to say when white females were flirting with them, like wouldn't leave them alone. I told them, like, look, this is what you say. Tell her, you know, different things, you know, and it worked. You know, I've had some success in telling them, like, this is what you say to her. Tell her that you don't first, you know, I told this one dude to tell this white female that have been harassing them to first don't speak to her. When she says hi to you, don't say anything. And then when she come and asks you why you never said anything when she spoke, tell her that your being around her is too much for you, that you're so attracted to her that you get an erection when she comes around. So you would rather for her not to come around no more. And he was like, what? You know, he's an older dude. He was like, what do you do? I said, just you want her to leave you alone, right? He's like, yeah. I said, tell her that. Give her that just tell her what I told you. He was like, man, this is crazy. He was smiling, but he told her, and she told him. She was like, well, dang, it's a dang shame that we're married. You know, because you know we could, you know, we would probably have some fun or whatever. And he was like, yeah. And she left him alone after that. So I'm just basically, my message is, use your head. It's chess, you know what I'm saying, not checkers. And it's a power dynamic. You can show your power by running experiments, knowing these people, and manipulating them in ways where it benefits you. And you can show other people that they can do the same thing. So I've been doing it for a long time, and I haven't had any problems. So, yeah, that's all I have to say.
Always good to hear from 909. Person who called in from New York. Did you have things that non-white people, black people, should be on the lookout when they're on the job and dealing with racist women?
Gus, can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Hi, this is LB.
Greetings. Good to hear from you.
Yes, I have been highly terrorized and victimized for about 2 to 3 weeks now. So, I mean, my pressure has been so high I couldn't even call you to do the role play. But it's resolving itself. One of the things that I think absolutely should be code, especially for the black males, is you don't want to be around these white females and alcohol. That's definitely a bad move.
Say that again, please.
You don't want to be around white females and alcohol. One drink and these chicks are, you know, they use that as an excuse just to totally wild out. So that's a dangerous situation. One of the other things that I've seen on the job that should definitely be code, especially for females, black females, do not tell white females your personal business. Absolutely not. Do not get into the habit of talking to them about your personal business, because white women are very insecure. And that's the basic thing that black females have to deal with on these jobs with white females. They're very insecure. They don't want to feel that you're more attractive than they are. They don't want to feel that you're more confident than they are. They don't want to feel that you are more happy than they are, particularly in personal life. So if they're having problems with their white males in their personal life, and it seems like you're not having a problem, you're going to have a problem on that job. Whatever their insecurity is, they're going to take that out on you. So you have to be very crafty how you deal with these white females in the work situation.
I will say it again, just to echo what she said. Alcohol with these white people on the job is a bad idea, a really bad idea. I would say, I think Mr. Nero said period, and I would co-sign on that too. Alcohol and white people, period, is a bad combination. I mean, too much evidence, way too much evidence. Alcohol and white people is a really bad combination. Drink water.
And you really
go ahead.
You want to limit, just like we were talking about code in general in terms of limiting socializing with them. You know, that applies on the job as well. I mean, you know, we have to do what we have to do in terms of maintaining our jobs, but you know, a lot of these lunches that's not going to directly benefit you work-wise, forget about it. You know, drinks after work, if it's not benefiting you directly, forget about it. Don't socialize with these people when you don't have to.
Gus, could I piggyback on what you just said? And that was, sisters, don't tell them your business. I have seen them move in on black women's men, particularly a lot of times white women will try to befriend you just long enough to get at some black men. They will try, you know, I mean, it's, they will get in your business and they will use it against you.
Absolutely.
And they will use what you tell them to deal if they have a black man in their life already. You know, like you were saying, do not socialize. You know, only have as much communication as necessary for you to take care of what you need to take care of.
Pam?
Hello?
I'm sorry, Gus. Go ahead.
I would just say
that was... Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to piggyback off what she said. I was trying to say the springboard or jump-off concept is something that I guess I wanted to make sure people kept in mind. That they always try to use you for, you know, for something. And I think the more attractive you are or confident or whatever, they see that as, you know, a bigger springboard or a bigger jump-off.
It's a big threat. And I truly believe that one of the reasons that black women are being lambasted in the media, in movies, film, and all of that, is because if you Google Hollywood's top 100 women in entertainment, you'll see the names of CEO, CFO, executive producer, president. You'll see these white females in these very powerful positions in the media. And I noticed when they started going up the ladder and getting these positions, the images of black women hit the toilet. So I believe there's a direct relationship between black women's increasingly degraded images and white women having more power. So they are not your friends. They are not our friends. And as far as black men are concerned, they use you. I see them use black men on the job to get back at other white men. See, they have a hostility going on between them, and I believe that they'll throw the black man under the bus to get under a white man's skin. And I've seen black men get fired for allowing a white female to use them to antagonize other white males. I've seen 2 get fired for that. And at the end of the day, she went on about her business, and the black male was fired.
Yeah. I would say consistently, you know, for all of the talk of battles between white men and white women, the casualties tend to be non-white people. No matter how much fussing and fighting white women and white men allegedly have between them, the casualties invariably are non-white people. I definitely want to get like codification in terms of things to do, things to not do, because I know the caller in Massachusetts sounded like he had some great code. Black Megatroid, I know Pam included it in her newest book, Black Love is a Revolutionary Act. One of the things I definitely want to make sure that I get in, I don't want to give the suggestion to any non-white person, any black person who might be listening to the program. I don't want it to sound like I am suggesting that you go on the job and, you know, scowl at white women. In fact, I would say that is the wrong move with white women. What I'm saying is that these white women are extremely dangerous, extremely cunning, and you really have to think about the most constructive way to deal with someone that is a clear enemy to black people, non-white people. Definitely drinking, I would strongly discourage that under any circumstances on the job. I wouldn't care what kind of party it is. I know a lot of times they have these sort of functions and you have to go, but as the female caller in New York said, the drinking, I mean, just drink water. I mean, that should be an easy one. I've had to codify that on the job. I have been in job situations where white people have pressured me to drink, and it was really bad because it was a change. I used to drink with them, and then I stopped. And it wasn't even racism related. It was just because I got more serious about running. And it was a real problem. I mean, it was like, almost like we were teenagers or something, like real peer pressure around drinking. Like, I ended up having to make an excuse. In fact, I didn't even want to stop drinking. I just wanted to reduce the amount of alcohol. That was what it was. I remember I just didn't want to drink as much. So I would just want to drink one beer, and it would be like, no, let's do some shots. And I'd be like, no, I'm trying to run later, I really want to take care of myself. And no, I'll buy this. No, it was real pressure. It was a consistent problem to the point where I had to say, okay, I'm just not going to drink at all. That way we won't even get started down this road. I stopped drinking. And I would, in fact, encourage, even if you do drink, at least for job purposes, tell them you don't drink. You can tell them I'm at risk for diabetes, and if you're black, that'll be true. I'm at risk for diabetes. My doctor advised me not to drink. I'm trying to follow doctor's orders. Just codifying behavior. But getting back to the white women, I definitely am not saying don't, go in and feel like you need to frown at every white person or what have you. In fact, I would not encourage that. But just saying you need to be aware. Codify certain things, what to say, what not to say, and make sure you're not being careless with your words. I think the callers have consistently hit on that. You cannot be careless with what you say, what you do with white people, period, on the job, and especially with white women. I'm going to give out some quick coded suggestions. I'll mute my line, and then if anybody else on TalkShoe, if you have codified suggestions or if you have questions about anything folks have shared so far, feel free to hop in. You can press *8 if you haven't shared yet. Some of my codification, in fact, part of my preparation for this program, I watched the film Obsessed. I'd never seen it before. I watched it. It is incredibly codified. You can learn a lot watching that film if you have some understanding of white supremacy. I would say the first thing, it does a fabulous job of illustrating the power of being a white person. You have a black male who is executive assistant director. He's like second in command at this company. You have a white temp worker, and she is able to annihilate him quickly establishes that I'm white. What titles mean nothing. I'm white and you're a black person, and this is white supremacy. That becomes real clear in this film from the very beginning. And in fact, I would even say maybe this is a conscious act of racism for white women on the job. If it's a married, non-white person who's attempting a family, seek and destroy. Maybe this is a conscious part of the mission of a racist woman. Other codification I pulled out of the film, he didn't take any notes. There were tons of incorrect things happening, tons of them. No notes. He had no record to make a case when it was time. And she knew this. When it's time to go talk, she tells him, whose word are they going to believe? I'm white. Whatever I say is true, period. You want to go, and I mean, you want to go talk to someone and see who they believe. I'm white. You want to go see. That is going to apply. Anything that is incorrect on the job, you need documentation. Dates, times, be as detailed as possible. If a white woman says anything incorrect, touches you, you want documentation of what happened, when it happened, witnesses if you can get it, and make sure that you communicate. Use your words to the best of your ability to communicate. If incorrect things are happening, particularly anything sexual, make that known immediately. All of this, I'm talking about the film, but I think people have touched on this. You are not there to empathize with white women. You're not there if they have problems. You're not there to be listening to their that should be none of your concern. I wouldn't care what they're crying about. Relationship, they took my kids, my house burned down. I can get you some clothes, and I wouldn't even suggest that. But where's the box so we can put, clothes? That's about it. I don't have time to talk. I'm not interested. I'm not, here for you to cry on my shoulder. Not at all. Not, in fact, I would say that is one of the most dangerous things. A crying white woman, you should run far away. Far, far away. That has nothing to do with you at all. Let a white person deal with that. Pick out some of the other suggestions. Oh my Lord, do not for any reason, no white person, period, should have access to your personal information on the job. Like if they have to run errands or what have you, they should not have access to your personal information. That, I mean, it's just, that should be common sense. If you need things mailed to family members and what have you, that should not be in the hands of racist man, racist woman. They should not have unnecessary access to any of your personal information. I would recommend, just because this is warfare, my suggestion would be to not bring your family on the job unnecessarily. There's no reason for you to be bringing, in my opinion, family, friends on the job to meet racist people that you work with. They don't need to know anybody that you know and hang out with. I would not recommend that. That's just giving them more information. I just wouldn't recommend it. I would encourage, meet up with your family and friends off the job. I would not want my children to come in and be hanging out with racists on the job. I would probably say that I think that could cut out some problems. I've seen a lot of people do that and bring the kids through, and the white people act like it. I would cut all that out. That would just be my code. If other people have things that they have codified, in fact, Massachusetts, if you could share some of your things that you've codified that are working well for you on the job, that would be great. And especially things around what I said, because I think, and I could be wrong, but I think the code, it would not be as constructive to just be scowling at white women. I could be incorrect. If you could share some of your code, we would appreciate it.
Can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First, I think I know we all have to come to an understanding that the problem is white people, and we need to start being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I say that because I have to deal with that every single day that I go to work, and that's the first step. You have to realize that, okay, I'm not here to make racist women feel comfortable. I mean, that's what we have to first understand. After that, I have a notepad that I bring into work every day, and as soon as I learned about the tacky, trashy, terroristic, I made a sheet, and I would tally up all the different instances where there would be some type of tacky, trashy, or terroristic events taking place. That way I can look back and see for myself, okay, they are the problem, and I need to codify my behavior. Also, in regards to just communicating with racist women, or racist man at that, if they ask me, how are you doing? Hey, Anton, how are you? All that, as well as can be expected every single time. Because for me, that usually doesn't permit any further conversation between us. Because I think that a lot of times, that initial, hey, how are you, if you're not careful in what you're saying, then that can lead to a conversation about what you did during the weekend, and you just may go on into a tangent, and that could lead to destruction. So I would stick to as well as can be expected. It works like a charm. So I would advise that. Again, no joking around. I mean, be serious. I mean, if you have to talk to a racist woman, there has to be some type of objective. I would find myself just talking to racist women for no reason, really. And I had to, like the other caller said, I had to check myself. I have to check myself like every second of the day. And I'm not even over-exaggerating here. I'm being serious. I have to check myself every day. I have to say, okay, why am I talking to this person? Why, what is the constructive value here? And once you do that, everything will become clear, and you'll have an understanding that, okay, hey, this is my enemy. And also too, what I use, and I got this from, I believe, 909. Whenever I see a white woman that may have a body of a non-white or of a black female, I'm attracted to that. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm attracted to that. But I say to myself, I think 909 says, danger, danger, danger. I I say enemy, enemy, enemy. And it works. It works like a charm. Again, you have to remind yourself, okay, we are at war. And like Pam said, you cannot sleep with white supremacy at night and get up and fight them in the morning. You just can't do it. And I've learned that firsthand. And I know that you cannot do it. And the racist woman that I had relations with, she almost got me, because she was, I would, this was back when I was more confused. I would tell her certain things, and she would be like, oh yeah, that's racism. And yeah, and she would send me MLK video clips and all this, and I had to snap out of it, like, whoa, hey, whoa. and she almost got me. She almost got me. So what I'm saying is, you just, all in all, you got to be serious. Don't put yourself in any type of situation where something may happen. You have to first understand that they are the enemy. Once you understand that, it's a lot easier to turn down their advances, or even just to ignore them. And again, like the other caller said, a big thing is just ignoring them. You can't show them that attention, or else it's like they're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. You just have to be focused on what you're doing and ignore them. And once you ignore them, I mean, most of the time in my experience, I find that they'll leave you alone. But if you're walking out and having conversations about nothing, then you're gonna end up in a bad position.
Can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
I would say 4 things, probably more, but 4 nevers. Is 1, never compliment white women. On anything. Never compliment them about their hair, about their perfume, about their shoes, anything. We just keep that simple. Thank you and appreciate is about as far as it goes. For maybe whatever the work, whatever they did that's work related. Never be alone with white females. If you have a white female in your office, make sure you keep your door open. If you're in a cubicle, make sure you always, I would actually stand outside my cubicle if that were the case and there was a white woman talking to me. Because I'm for one, I don't like being in a vulnerable position. So I'm of the opinion that I always, if any white person is talking to me, whether it be in an office or in any situation where I'm sitting down and they're standing up, I stand up, so we can be face to face, because I don't want to be looking up to you. Fourthly, never accept personal invitations, to their home or anything, because we have a habit of inviting you, to barbecues and swimming events and things of that nature. Just say no, and eventually, you won't get those invitations anymore, because they're trying to feel you out to see how safe you are, and again, then it gets too personal. So, I like what you said earlier, Gus, about not bringing your family up. And fourthly, I would say never talk about race at all. Kill that conversation. I'm just of the opinion that I'm not trying to convert white people. Now, don't get me wrong. If somebody says something that I don't agree with, then I will. I'll say what I have to say and kill the conversation. And I always make sure that I bring it back to justice. That regardless of whatever problems we have, and what is the underlying cause of that comment. That until we live in a world that's based on truth and justice, then we're going to have these problems. So when they talk about people, when they're talking about the race issues or prison issues or crime, we always have to go back to what is considered justice. We wouldn't have these problems if we didn't have them, we wouldn't have these problems. But those are just 4 things I just suggest that are pretty easy, and we don't have to worry about complicating them. Just never compliment white women, and never be along with them, never stand no closer than arm's length to them. Always keep your distance from them, because remember that you are at war, and that you are, as a young man was just saying, you're at war, and they will always be the victim. And I have seen them break down and cry over certain things, because of when you don't treat them like the little angels that they think they are, they will cry on you. So you make sure you keep your distance from them, and you make sure that you're always visible. And again, never take personal invitations, and never talk about race. I think that if we codify ourselves with that, particularly on our job, we experience less problems, and we give them less ammunition to work with against us.
I'd like to piggyback on what you just said, and I have a personal story. A friend of mine, actually, he was working as a lawyer in the state's attorney's office, and he had the same, he didn't even call it codification. He wouldn't even have called it a code, but he made sure that he had an office. He made sure anytime a white female walked in there, he left the door open. He tried not to be cornered in his office. He tried not to be in any kind of compromising position, because he said what he found out was the white men in the office were always watching. Always watching. And as a matter of fact, one time a white female must have been looking for him. This one white female, I think he was flirting with him. And I guess he was out of his office, and so when he came back into the office, one of the white males who was, one of the bosses there said, "Oh, so-and-so is looking for you." And the man looked at him like, "Okay, why is she looking for you?" And so he said he just came up with something, "Oh, she must want that paper on XYZ." As he realized that they were always watching the black men, looking for them to slip up. And one black male did get fired. He was a hot shot, very talented lawyer, but he made the mistake of coming on to his white female boss, and she filed sexual harassment charges against him, and he was fired. So in the time that my friend was there and the time he left, he said almost every black male that worked in the state's attorney's office, we're talking about Cook County in Illinois, almost every single one now is gone. He said he don't think there's a single black male working as a lawyer in the state's attorney's office.
And I think too that I'm sorry, Gus.
I just wanted to do a survey. I'm just curious to see how rampant this is. If people could be honest on this one, this is important, because it really just provides evidence to the terroristic behavior of white people. How many non-white people present? I'm just talking to males, black males that are on the line right now. If you're not on the line, you can just press 1. How many black males present have ever been in any way sexually harassed by a white woman on the job? Sexually harassed by a white woman on the job. And the criterion, any sort of touching, sexual, any sort of sexual articulation, anything that without a doubt, if a white woman experienced this from a male, bang, this would have been sexual harassment. How many black males on the line personally could say, yes, I have been sexually harassed by a white female on the job?
I have been sexually harassed by a white female on the job.
Okay, so we have 1, 2. I'm counting myself. That's 2.
I have
3.
Definitely. A lot of jobs. I might say all of them where white females were involved. I experienced sexual harassment. That's crazy. I never thought about it, but every last one where a white female was working there more than, yeah, man. Dang, that's crazy. But yes.
Okay. Let me see. I think non-Mighty Wick, are you there?
Yeah, you can count me on that list.
Okay, that's 4. Got 4. If you called in, if you are a black male, non-white male, if you called in, even if you're not speaking, you can just press *8. That'll just let me know that, you're non-white male and you've been sexually harassed on the job. Even with these numbers right now, that should let you know these white women are total predators on the job. And I think Pam has said repeatedly about the non-white male so-called Indians, where they were harassed so much that they had to leave the job. Total example of lawlessness on the workplace. If you are a non-white person, you should just expect in some form the sexual problems with white women on the job. You should expect it and prepare for it. This is what I'm going to do to eliminate, reduce the possibility of that happening. And then if it does happen, this is what I'll do. We got hands. See, it might be even going up. The person guest 17, you had a hand up. Was that a vote, or did you have a question or comment?
It's happening at my jobs as well.
See,
Military
total predator
as well as civilian.
Yep.
Did you have anything else, or?
No, just saying it's happened everywhere. Military as well as when I was civilian jobs.
Military and civilian. Person that with a hand up, North Carolina. Person with a hand up, North Carolina. Was that a vote, or did you have something to add?
Oh, that's a vote, and I have something to add, Mr. Renegade.
Black Talk Radio Network founder. Please feel free.
Like your last caller, all throughout my civilian work life and in the military. In the military, it was a captain who later was busted in the barracks with another black enlisted soldier. They ended up court-martialing her, of course, but yeah, she harassed me. 2 managers at a fast food restaurant when I was fresh out of high school, and I know these chicks was like in their 40s, and one was probably in her late 30s, so I was about 19, you know what I'm saying? And so, this is in a Wendy's restaurant. I was harassed, so yeah.
Dang, how did you deal with that at 19?
Laughed it off. Well, actually, the manager almost got me involved with a dispute between her and her husband. He would come into the store, and he could tell that, I guess, he was having problems with her, or they were having problems, and she was cheating on him and whatever, but he would come in looking at me like, you know what I'm saying, like I'm the other man. I'm just a 19-year-old kid flipping burgers trying to make a living. Actually had 2 jobs at the time, so no, it wasn't like that, but yeah, she did. She made she made the opportunity present itself, so, totally inappropriate conduct on the job. So yeah, but nothing happened on none of these jobs. But I just wanted to chime in. Great show as always, and I'll hang up and continue to listen.
Mr. Scotty Reed, always good hearing from you, sir. Black Talk Radio Network, outstanding programs. Wow. Why not? Now look at that. And again, nobody ever said anything to me about this. I never had anyone stop me at any part of the journey, on the time that I've been under racism, white supremacy. No one ever stopped me and said, these white men went on the job, man, be careful, they are lethal. No one said anything. Hopefully, we can correct that. There should be books on this, like many of them, documentaries. We just need a lot of help in this area. Let me see if anybody else had a hand or a comment on. See, we got another hand. Negritos. Did we have a vote, or did you have something to add?
No, that happened to me too. A woman was leaning against me, and then her hand was dangling, and she touched my rear end.
How? What was the age dynamics in this?
About 2 years ago, I'm in my 30s.
Okay. Was she about your age, or was she older, younger?
Yes, my age.
Okay. Did you?
Could I ask a question? I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I'm good.
I was just going to ask the same gentleman on the line. Were you ever harassed by an adult white female when you were a teenager?
No, never.
Okay. That happened a lot at my school. You know, I mean, the white teacher in particular. Everybody knew she was having sex with the male students.
No, I never experienced that. But, you know, it's like I knew her, but she was like, I know that what she did, I can never do to anybody on the job at the time when I was working there.
Did you guys hear about it just came out today about the white female teacher, dance teacher in Texas who was having sex with a teen and had 2 children with him? It's, where did I get it from? Somebody sent me the email. It's Texas dance teacher accused of having sex with teen students, black male students. 16. And bore him 2 children. For some reason, these white females seem to have a tendency to, well, they don't always molest non-white boys, but they do seem to lean toward that occasionally. So a lot of boys are being harassed at a very early age, and they don't know it's harassment. They don't really know what it is. They think they're lucky. So, you know, I would say, just add this real quickly. Black parents, be careful where your children are when they're with white males or white females. There's a lot of molestation going on of our children with white people. Tremendous amount.
Oh, that is great. Someone emailed in some codification. I wanted to share. I believe this is a listener in Canada, a black female listener in Canada. Her code, she said, no pictures of family at your desk, no plants, no radios. It is a plantation. You do not want to make it homely. I think that is a great suggestion. No photos. I think that is a fantastic suggestion. Let me double check. I just want to make sure I'm not missing the call. Okay, press *8 for the people that called in. The person in California, I think if that's 909, I have your line is open. Anybody new that called in, just press *8 and I can get your line. Go ahead. Whomever that was, go ahead.
Gus, can I be heard?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Gus, this is LBM. One of my codes as well, as far as dealing with white females on the job, is I don't try to compete with these women sexually. And I find that has gotten a lot of black females in trouble as well. I don't, I certainly don't, I'm certainly not a bum, but at the same time, I don't try to compete with them as far as clothing, as far as dressing. I don't dress as well as I could dress. You know, I keep it casual, keep it loose. You know, I'm not trying to wear party dresses to the job, you know?
That makes sense.
Because I think we have to remember, you just can never forget how insecure and psychotic the white female is. Everything is seen as a threat to her. Everything is competition. And with her going after the males on the job, the last thing that she needs to really set her off is to have this black female being more sexually attractive than she is. So that's a game that I don't even play with them.
That's a good point. It doesn't take much.
It doesn't take much at all. I'll give you one little thing that I've done from time to time and it works every time. Generally, I wear my locks up, so they generally don't know, how long they are. They're generally pinned up every day when I go to work. Every once in a while, I'll let them fall, and the reaction is unbelievable. It's like I'm a totally different person as far as they're concerned. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. I think I told this story before about a friend of mine who was on a commuter train, and he was talking to the conductor, and I guess a black female sitting across the aisle up a little ways looked back at him. I guess you heard his voice or something and wondered who that was. And the white female sitting behind this black female. Now, everybody's a stranger. This white female sitting behind the black female checks out the fact that this black female is looking back at this black male, and this white female unpins her hair.
Yep.
And lets it fall, and then leans her head toward in his direction.
It's real.
And he's looking like, what the, because he said it was absolutely bizarre. But he said that black female, as soon as that black female touched her hair, the white female sprang into action. And for her to even react that way, total strangers now, says the depth of her insecurity.
It's real.
And I've seen it where I've had white women bump into me, mean mug me, stand next to you, and turn their head and look at you, just watching you, mean mugging you, all kinds of stuff. And, it's just incredible to me that this is supposed to be the superior person here. This never fails to amaze me, that you're supposed to be the superior person. It blows my mind. It doesn't take anything. But that's not true of every single white woman. But when they clown, they clown.
I think hello?
Yes, ma'am.
I think in terms of what the gentleman said, in terms of our job not being to make her feel comfortable, that is not our job. Our job is not to make her feel comfortable. At the same time, it certainly doesn't serve you well if you want to keep your job to make her feel uncomfortable. So that's the chess game that we play every day. That's the mask that we have to wear, every day in terms of keeping these jobs, is not making this female feel uncomfortable. It's a game, and it's not always an easy game.
And I would strongly advise against black men playing too many games, because you can get caught up in the game. I would say be very careful. Don't try to play too many. I would say don't play mind games at all. Just keep control of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you start playing mind games and trying to, do this and that, what you're doing now is you're focusing on her. And before you know it, you might find yourself sexually attracted. So I would say, keeping your distance, I think, works better than playing mind games.
Mm-hmm.
Because mind games will have a tendency to backfire on you. If you're not
yeah,
sure.
I agree with that, Pam. I was going to say that when I was younger, I did give advice for non-white males. I did give advice to a non-white male to, basically lie, and that's not my code now. I was young, and I just did that. But I remember thinking that, what if she had said, let's go? You know what I'm saying? Let's do this. I don't think that he would have. I don't think that he would have not went through with it. So yeah, my code is not to lie. Not to lie. I mean, I do experiments just to show other non-white males that, like the female said, as far as playing the game, that but because I'm codified, pretty much for a long time. So yeah, I have no problem with it. But I would just say not to lie.
And I actually, my best role model in terms of how to act with white males is to do what they do. I didn't even know that I was learning so much until I actually thought about it. And I said, man, and it's in the second book, the white male's code of conduct regarding non-white females. He's got his code down. He also is very disturbed about having to have a code in some respects, but he keeps it. He does not compliment black women in front of white women. He does not pay undue attention to black women. If he approaches black women, generally speaking, is out of earsight or eyesight of other white people. So I'm saying I started looking at him, and I noticed the game that he was playing. And so what I do is I mimic that game. You know, I do not acknowledge them as sexual beings. I just don't do it. And I find that I don't say that they know what I'm doing, but I find that it keeps the walls up between us. They don't get too comfortable, and I don't get too comfortable. Because my thing is, you're a human, you're here, I'm going to be courteous, but I don't see you as a sexual person. You're not a potential sexual partner for me. So we're never going to have that kind of interaction. And but the difference between me and them is I'm not trying to sneak around and get you when everybody's not looking. That's the difference between me and the white male's code of conduct. But you can learn a lot from, in my opinion, from watching the way white people act around other white people and how they keep their emotional distance from us.
The caller, Khalil, Mr. Khalil, if you had a comment, go ahead, and then I'll get the caller in Massachusetts. If you call, and Mr. Reed. Oh, I didn't see quite a few people that called in. So Texas, go ahead, and then I'll get the people that called in.
Is that me, Gus?
Yes, sir, Mr. Khalil, go ahead.
No, I was thinking about what people are saying, and a lot of it rings true. But I think that from my perspective, we missed the point that you have to be mindful of what type of aura you put out. I attribute a lot of the lack of issues that I've had with white females and males, for that matter, is how I carry myself. I know a couple of your guests have said in the past that white people have a certain expectation of how we are supposed to act. And they know after a certain period of time that this ain't a regular nigga. You understand what I'm saying? It's something different about him or her. I don't know. They may not be able to pinpoint what it is. And as the female speaker was saying earlier, that it's not about making them comfortable. It's not about making them uncomfortable. Because the reality is you're not trying to do either. You're not trying to make them comfortable, and you're not trying to make them uncomfortable. But what you are doing is you're trying to keep what relationship you may have professional and minimal.
Right.
You don't have to put energy into that once you've made up your mind, as most have said, that this is my enemy, that I am at war, and I have to conduct myself as one who is at all times. So I don't have to try too hard to make this person feel either way, because I'm not concerned about how they feel. I'm concerned about, doing what it is I came here to do, which is to make a wage that I can get the things I need to support myself. But you still have, and I look at it like this: I'm a spook who sat behind the door, and I never forget that, because I'm not at all concerned about, I could turn, in a heartbeat if it became necessary. There is no relationship. There is nothing to be gained by befriending them, being too nice. As in the code book, it says, don't be so uptight. Don't be so casual where you become, so relaxed that you forget what you're doing, and don't be so uptight that you give out the impression that you're unapproachable. It's not about being angry. It's not about getting the title the angry black person. It's just about making sure that you are setting a standard that I'm not going to be what you expect me to be. And I just find myself, I don't have those issues. At least to my knowledge. It doesn't mean that I don't slip and I don't make mistakes. And when I do make mistakes, I go and I I evaluate the situation, what I did wrong, what did they do that caused me to slip. Because we all are traumatized by the system that we're in, so we're going to make mistakes, and we have to evaluate those mistakes. But I'm just convinced because of what I've witnessed on my own. You just don't befriend these people. Think about when you did befriend them and what was the outcome. Just make that clear to yourself. They are not your friends. They are your foe. And you only have a response. You only you should deal with them only as much as is necessary. And that's it. You should not deal with them in situations that you don't have to. And if you do that, you'll find yourself, it's not a matter of them respecting you, but they back off. Because they know you're different. It doesn't mean they're going to try you from time to time. But I just think I just want to drive that message home that it's not difficult once you really start being codified. The only difficulty is is being codified at all times and not kicking yourself in the butt when you make a mistake. Just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, go back to the drawing board, and get back on the battlefield.
Can I be heard?
Yes, sir. Who is this?
This is Anton.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I had a question for the caller. I'm in the process of trying to be more codified on the job, and I would say like maybe 3 weeks ago, me and my manager, we were talking, and he was saying, Anton, it seems like your head's not in the game. It's just, you don't seem very personable. You don't, what's going on? And I said, nothing. My work, my performance is where it should be. All the tasks that you give me are being completed in a timely fashion. Basically, in regards to, being personable at work, I keep everything work-related. If anyone has a problem or has a question for me that's work-related, I am more than willing, and I told him, as you can see, I'm more than willing to help anyone here with any problem or situation that they face here on the job. However, I'm not going to, walk around and have conversations all day about issues that are, not work-related. And basically, he was just, really getting on me about being personable, but I'm just like, what am I here to do? Am I here to do my work, solve problems, answer questions, or am I here to socialize? So, I'm attempting to do the best that I can in regards to codifying, and people in my job can definitely see the difference. Definitely. They definitely recognize I'm not the person I used to be when I was more confused. But I'm dealing with I'm dealing with just trying to balance the situation without looking like the angry black man, which I don't feel like I look. I don't feel like I look that way. I'm not about socializing. I'm here to work. So when, for example, when the boss comes up to me, and he's saying all these things about me being personable, what do I say to that? I don't know what else to say to that.
Is that a question for me?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Yes, sir, it is.
Well, I can only give you my personal experience with that. I think you've only become codified recently, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's typical. Whenever your eyes are open to something, it's like, you were in the matrix and now you're out, and you're like, you're making an immediate adjustment to your environment because now you're seeing things that you haven't always seen. I was like that as well. When I finally, I thought my eyes were open, when I began to see things for what they were, I did have an immediate withdrawal because your change is almost instant. Why? Because you're trying to adjust and you're trying to correct yourself. So that is what's going to be noticed, because you're not the same Antoine. That's your name, correct?
No, it's Anton, not Twan.
Anton, I'm sorry. You're not the same individual who came to work last week for whatever reason, and they don't know, so they're trying to figure out what's going on with Anton. Is something going on in his personal life? Is there problems at home? So they're trying to feel you out. And the only thing you can do is just continue to do what you're doing. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You can't, because the reality is the explanation that you have, you don't want to give them anyway, because I always believe you never let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. You know, I just don't, they don't have to know that I'm codified. They don't have to know, they may not even know what that is. They don't have to know how I feel about white people. It's not necessary. All they need to know is that they can't talk to me about certain things. You know, and all I want to do is be professional. In time, you're going to find that those questions, are going to become less and less, because they're trying to get you to revert back to who you were, the old Anton. They can't quite figure out what's going on, and they're definitely, I don't think, based on my own experience, they have no idea that you taking the blue pill. You see? They just think something's probably wrong. I'm just assuming, based on my own experience. But I found that over time, I began to be, taken more seriously for who I had become. And then then eventually, you're going to get comfortable with where you're at. Because right now, you do have a little bit of uptightness in your attitude. Because you don't even want this person to breathe in the same atmosphere as you're in because of what your eyes see now. You don't even want to talk to them really because of what you know now. But as you get more comfortable being conscious and being codified, then you'll start to relax. And then you'll realize that, I am a spook who sat behind the door, as I said earlier. That's what I have to be. I have to know, and that's what makes the movie Matrix so powerful if you really understand it. I have to know when to be in the Matrix and when to be out. So you're going to get to that point eventually where you're not going to give out that nervous vibe that right now that you're giving out. Because you're going to get comfortable. You're going to have to get comfortable with, if you're going to continue to do what you do. You have to like it, but you're going to have to get used to being in enemy territory. And I got a military background, and that's just how I have to take it. I have to look at everything in a military, from a military perspective. You're going to have to get used to being in enemy territory, and and realize that that's where you're at. But over time, you'll get comfortable, and those questions won't come up. But I don't know if it answers your questions or give you any views of what the future holds. But it eventually will stop, man. But you don't try to explain it. Is what I'm saying. Don't try to explain it. If you want to say, I'm just transitioning right now. I mean, what that means a whole lot of things. If you feel that that's necessary, I'm just transitioning. Ain't nothing wrong. Hey, change the subject if it comes up. I'm just transitioning, or whatever. And eventually they'll get used to the new Anton, or the new Anton will no longer be employed at that facility. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I think
Thank you for your
time. Yes, sir. You're welcome.
There's a person that dialed in, a different person that dialed in from Massachusetts. Then I'll get Negritos. I think I want to double check to make sure DC if she had a question, and then I'll get Pam. The other person that dialed in from Massachusetts. Did you have a question or comment?
Hello, Gus. How you doing?
I'm still being victimized. Yes, we can hear you, sir.
I hear you, brother. Lovely show, man. First of all, about the question you asked about the harassment, yeah, it happened to me. You know, it was weird, man. We were in a group. I mean, males and females, right? And so one white girl, man, she really squeezed my behind, man, like hard. Like I was like, whoa. Had it been me, man, I would have been behind bars. And then the other thing I was very curious about it was the first caller, right? Because he mentioned something. I think he's one of your regular callers. I think he goes by the name 109 or 209. It was very interesting what he said. He said that she was trying to turn them against Latinos, or the Latinos against the blacks or something. And you know, it happened to be, you know, what white people call black Spanish. So all my life I've been caught up in the middle of that. You know what I'm saying? I had to. I've been on jobs where I had white people tell me straight up, why you want to side with them? And I'm like, because I'm black. I just happen to be a negro. They Negroes, I'm negro. You know, so you know, and I always get caught up in that. And then when I be around, for example, Mexicans, then they turn them against me. So I'm always caught up in the middle of that. But that's one thing they use. For example, I have seen, like, if from what he's saying, I noticed that it works the same both ways, that the white females utilizes that as well as the white male. Because one thing I have noticed, like, for example, if you go on a job and the majority of people on the job are black, they'll turn the blacks against the Latinos. But if it's the other way around, and there's more Latinos on the job than the blacks, they'll turn the Latinos against the blacks. So either way, they always keep turning us against each other. So he was saying that I believe he said something that she was trying to turn the blacks on the Latinos and the Latinos on the blacks. And I would love if you could please, run that by me again, exactly what it said that she was trying to do as far as manipulating two groups of non-whites to go against each other. I believe his screen name is 109. He's one of your regular callers. I believe he was the first caller. If you're on the line, can you explain that to me a little bit?
Yeah, it's very simple. The concept is I use a springboard or jump off. How the white female try to use you as a springboard or jump off to get to another position. So she was trying to use the blacks by flirting with us to make the Latinos jealous. So when the Latinos would try to do more for her attention, then she would go ahead and be where she wants. That's really what she wanted. She wanted the lead. She wanted the attention of the Latino leads, but she was trying to use the blacks to make the Latinos jealous. So when they came and said, "No, I'll buy you a drink," or "I'll, let you in my room," or whatever, then boom, that's where she wanted to be. That's where she's going to stay, and that's when she really, gives it up or whatever. She'll sleep with them or whatever, and then he feels like, yeah, I took you from that black person or whatever. So yeah, that's just the concept. Is don't be used. That was the concept that I was trying to put out very simply.
Thanks a lot, brother, for clarifying that. And now I used to have a little something else to say, right? And then I'm out. The other thing I wanted to say, geez, man, I get all nervous when I get on these block talks and all that, man. That was a very important point I wanted to touch up about one of the things I seen they doing. Man, that's cool, man. I forgot. If I remember, I'll probably say something.
Oh, okay. Let me see. The person, Negritos. Did Did you have a comment? Your line should be open, Negritos.
Yeah, I just wanted to concur with the last caller. I'm coming from an Afro-Hispanic background myself, and I've been in situations like that too on the job.
Were you the used, or were you someone that was the goal?
I'm sorry, repeat that, please.
Were you the one being used, or were you the goal of the white female? Was she trying to use you, or were you the goal, or was she trying to make you jealous to get some attention?
Used.
Okay.
Man. Let's see. The female caller in D.C., did you have a question? I wanted to make sure you had a question, and then I can get Pam. If anybody else that's on the line, if you have a question or comment, *8, and I can get you on the line. The female caller in D.C., did you have a question or comment?
Oh, I was going to ask Pam earlier in terms of the age of the white females. Have you observed, my observation, I just wanted to know if you've noticed this, that the women of the so-called women-led movement or whatever, the women that I've worked with that are white, they are more refined, in my opinion, the ones that I've worked with. They're more refined, and they try to bite their tongue when it comes to things that they want to say, but they know they can't say because they're more codified. The women, the younger women than me, now say under the age of 35, they're less refined now. They say everything. They talk too much. They're gossipy. They cry. They literally cry, tears coming down their eyes. They run to the bosses. They have no problem using their body parts, double D breasts to get what they want. Sheer blouses. They're just less refined, and they are getting what they want because, they're collaborating with the white males. So have you seen that? Is that an observation that you've seen? Because I don't. That's not what I've made. Hello?
That question was to Pam, correct? Pam, your line should be open.
Pam. Or any women, or any of the females that are on tonight. Because it seems like the younger females are more terroristic now. They're blatantly terroristic. And it's like they have no problem gossiping. At one time, a younger female who was a manager, she was basically upset with me because I had all the work in the office. So what she would do is she had this campaign to undermine what I was doing. She would say, well, her work's not really that good, and she doesn't do, she doesn't go to meetings. I don't know why everybody's giving her all this work. Now, she's trying to use her quiet voice, but clearly I could hear her, and another non-white person can hear her, and she could care less if I heard her or not. The older racist white woman, she would never, I've never had that before. If they said something about me, they didn't use their quiet voice. They would go in another room and they would talk about me behind closed doors. Younger white women have no problem. They're really out in the open. They're blatant about saying whatever they want because they feel that they have the power. They're more gossipy. And I've just noticed that. I've just noticed that.
Yeah, that's true. That's their warrior class.
And it seems like the dynamic is that they're busybodies. An older, more refined white supremacist woman, she's not a busybody. She just does. If she's strong, she's strong-willed and she's strong-minded. She does her work and she doesn't run across the room to do whatever. The younger woman, the younger racist female, she's running across the floor and she's shouting and yelling and saying, oh, you know, I got to do this, I got to do that, I'm so busy. And if something is wrong, she'll cry literally to the white males. Now, basically, she's the queen on the chessboard doing all the moves for the rook and the knight and the bishop, and she's making sure that the king always looks good. So the king is the director, the person who's over everybody. So she makes sure she's in good with the director. Now, there have been rumors in certain jobs. I didn't want to believe it because I didn't think women would, you know, have sex to basically get on rise in their career. Everyone was like, well, she has to be having sex with the director. She's got too much power, and she's so all over the place to not be having sex with the director. And as I'm okay, they just said that to me. That's gossip. So but let me just take a look and see what she's doing. And it just seems like she'd be in and out of that director's office regularly. So, yeah, it's like she's just high energy, gossipy, very, very trifling, very, very terroristic. I'm sorry, was somebody going to say something?
I was trying to check to see if Pam's line was open. Your line should be open. If you're there, Pam, your line should be open.
Maybe she stepped away for a second.
Could be. We'll check back later. I thought it was quite ironic as you were saying that. I was trying to make sure I had a news report for the day, and the advertisement that went by, it had a white woman with an assault rifle, and she was yelling and shouting and shooting and blowing up things like. Yeah, I just thought that was quite ironic that you were commenting on the trifling and terroristic. I'm sorry?
Yeah, that's no coincidence. That's the universe saying we're in sync right now.
I mean, wow. I mean, it couldn't be more terroristic or trifling. On cue. Large phallic, and she was dressed in black too. Dr. Welsing moment. She was dressed in all black and phallic symbol. I mean, Dr. Welsing all the way.
I agree. What about the men online? Have you been just more overtly hit on by younger women or older women? Or just terrorized by them? More younger, more older, or less? I don't know.
Can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
This is Anton. I would have to say with the younger white females, it's definitely more overt. I had one female, I asked, I think I said, you know, hi, how are you? And she said something about, you know, put it in my rectum.
Oh, no.
And this is just off of just, hey, hi, how are you doing? Like, so, and I mean, she said it in front of like a whole bunch of other white females, and no one said anything. It was kind of like, oh, that's what she does. It's okay. And but with the older white women, it's again, like I said before, it's baked goods. It's, you know, I don't know. It's just it's not as blatant.
Yo, and this is crazy. I never even thought about this conversation, man. I'm just thinking about these white females, man, at the workplace, and wow, they do some wild stuff like that little saying with the male caller just says. Their little sayings the comments they make to you that are just, you know, nasty but yeah, like the older ones. I remember this. The owner's wife, man, I was working in this one place, man, and the owner's wife had a reputation for being, like they were swingers or something. And, you know, she would come out the office and bend over in front of me and was working with this non-white male and non-black, and bent over in front of us. And so I don't recommend this, but I said I said, let me see how many times she'd come out. I basically said, I want to see how often we can get her to come out of the office. And I just, every time she would come out the office, I would do my stare thing, you know what I'm saying, my little recognition that I was looking, and she would just do more and more and more, and he was tripping like, man, I can't believe it, like she don't come out the office that much, and she's not only coming out the office, but she's basically doing all of this bending over, and every time opening her legs, and this is the owner's wife, like it was crazy, man. And he really seemed like basically how I was trying to at least just show him how he could take control, because I see it as a power dynamic. Right now, they have control over us. They have power over us. They have power over whether we eat or don't eat, and that's a big problem. That's my problem. I hate that, you know what I'm saying? And so I just try to, and they want you to lose control. They think that, like a comment like that, you'll be thinking about that all day, that she said that she wants you to, do this or that. So that's a control thing. So anywhere I can take power back and control back, I'll do it. So she was coming out the office acting all crazy, and I'm staring. I'm acting like I just really, into seeing her. And then I just ignored her forever. I never looked at her again, like while I was working there. Never looked at her once again, and she didn't know what to think. And for me, that was taking control back. Like, I'm in control. You don't control me. You don't control where I look or anything like that. I had you running around for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And I got a witness right here that I had you acting crazy. So yeah, man, this has been from day one when I started working at like legitimate businesses. The first job I ever had in my life, man, white female. I got into a fight with this black male over, not over her, but because of her. First job I ever had. I'm in high school. A legit job or established job, I guess, corporate job. So I mean, it's been on and on. So it's a good lesson to learn.
I agree that it's a power thing. I don't know. Is my line up? Hello?
We can hear you, Pam.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I wasn't sure because my phone had disconnected earlier. I was going to say I agree it's a power thing, and I think it's important for black males to understand that the white female may not be able to put herself in a powerful position over a white male, and so she turns to the black male to manipulate. This white male wrote an article, which I didn't totally agree with. I didn't agree with quite a bit of it. But if you want to ever read it, it's Why Females Prefer Immigrant Males. Immigrant meaning non-white males. And so he wrote an article. You can Google it and pull it up. And I'll just read the first reason. He had 10 reasons why females, and he's only addressing white females, prefer alien males. And he said malleability. Immigrant males are generally more receptive to signals and easier for females to manipulate. Further, some immigrant males have been observed to deliberately play on the docility. Negroes making baby eyes, which the female finds appealing, to which she responds. So I'm not saying that what he's saying is correct, but I do believe that the white female, having been in a subordinate position with the white male, is now looking to flex her muscles. She wants to be in a powerful position. And the easiest way to do that is with a non-white victim. So a lot of their behavior seems flattering, but I assure you it is not flattering, in my opinion, at all.
It's not flattering. Like you said, it's a control and power move. Let me control this person. Let me wield power over this person. all I have to do is say some sweet, all I have to do is talk nasty, which is no problem for them. You know, that's why I try to tell non-white people, I don't think we should get into no, smut throwing things with races, because they got that, they got that lock, they got that on lock. So they'll say something real nasty. It ain't nothing for them. But we ain't never heard it before, and we like, what? We thinking about that all day, like, what? And, I mean, so yeah, if you ain't careful, man, you think that's something, but no, it's just a big power move to keep you thinking about them. They live on toxicity. That's how they live. That's what they're here to do, is to kill and cause to cause destruction. So yeah, it's a power move and a control thing. It's not about you're attractive or anything. Even though you might be, I think the more attractive you are, then the more you have to be on point, because they can use you to, like, for me, I could be using all kind of, well, just to say I don't know, not to say but yeah, man, they can use me against white, use me against Latinos if I fell for that because of my size and how I look or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm aware of that. I gotta be. I don't know. I wish I could have some data on so-called black males that are considered unattractive or think that they're unattractive, like dark and big lit, stuff like that. I wonder what's their take on all of this. Not so much unattractive for real, but
white standards.
Right.
But actually, it seems the white females love that really dark African-looking male. Matter of fact, I know some light-skinned black males who say that when they're out and about and white girls are descending on their group, they always target the darkest males, the most African-looking males. And sometimes the light-skinned guys don't get any attention. So that's a sign of being a racist right there, in my opinion, is that you've got a fetish. You're fetishizing people by their skin color. The beast, Beauty and the Beast syndrome. And I will tell you something else that I've noticed the white women do is they have, white people pay attention. They seem to be very, very much obsessed with our ways of watching and studying us. And they will look at the problems between the black male and black female, and the white female will play on that. She will try to adopt and pretend that she's just the opposite of the black female. She'll see what black men's complaints are about black females, and she'll try to do the opposite. That may not be her true personality, but she's basically playing on her knowledge, or at least what she thinks is happening between the black. And black males will willingly tell her all their business about what's going on between them and black women, and she'll use that to her advantage. And I've seen that happen. So, we have to be mindful of how much information, a.k.a. ammo, we give them about ourselves. And black women do the same thing. They'll sit there and they'll tell a white woman their business, and she'll use that in whatever manner she chooses against that black female or against black females in general. So we all kind of tell too much of our business to white people. And if you notice, they don't generally tell us much, except I have seen where they will approach. Matter of fact, a friend of mine, he was at some kind of seminar or something. He's a married black male. He was the only black male in this group. And this white program, I think he said she's some kind of program manager. She singled him out of all those white males, came right over to him, sat down, and started telling her her personal problems. And after she got up and left, the white male that was sitting nearby asked him, what was that all about? He said, I don't know. Out of all those white men there, she singled him out to come and tell her a lot of personal stuff. And I would just share one more story with you. I was in Walmart in Oklahoma, and I was with a classmate. I was down attending class for my job, and we were in Walmart. And ahead of us in line was this white female, was older than both of us. She might have been mid-50s or something like that. And we were talking about jazz and jazz clubs or whatever. So she turns around and starts joins the conversation. I didn't think anything of it because I'm thinking it was a big deal. She was saying, well, did we know any good jazz clubs in Oklahoma? Of course we didn't. Then she starts talking directly to him like I'm not even there. And I'm checking this out. She's talking to him and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I said, here we go. White woman making the move. Then as she paid for her stuff, walked out of line. We heading toward the door. I'm not making this up. We headed toward the door. She is waiting for us at the door. We're near the door. She walks up to him, toe to toe, nose to nose, and starts talking about, well, I'm dating this guy, and he's, I'm not sure what I should do, and, you know, he's blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there listening to this chick, and I'm like, why is she doing this? She's totally ignoring me. And so, you know, he's standing there like, he don't know what's going on. And so then, and guess where she was from? Seattle, Washington, land of jungle fever. I'm sorry. That's what I used to call it. I apologize.
There's a lot of
what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying is, this was my thought. This was my thought at the time. This was about 4 years ago. And I said to I told the guy after she walked away, I said, you know what that was? She's from Seattle. She's used to being able to do that with black men, command their attention, regardless of whether a non-white female is around. I said, obviously, she has gotten away with that before. So I've seen that happen. I don't even understand that. That's just kind of cuckoo to me.
I just want to say, please, we have to be aware. Awareness is the key, because things like that, I look for things like that. I was going to tell the caller that was saying that he was trying to get along in his job and whatnot. I think you need to, well, I don't know, I hope you can, I would just advise, look for opportunities. Look for opportunities to basically, I know Pam was saying mind games. I don't know if this would be considered mind games, but my code is I look for opportunities to basically move pieces around the board in advantageous places for myself. So if you find an opportunity where somebody's coming up to you and they're trying to have a conversation with you, make your evaluations and see if that can benefit you. If it can't, just cut it short. Like, I got to do something. You know, just like with that female coming up to him, he should have cut that. Like, he should have cut that at the ankles. That would have just been great for you, Pam, to see, and for himself. Like, Pam, it turned to you and be like, we out of here. You feel what I'm saying? That's what I'll be doing. I'm telling you, that's how I get down. It empowers me and in a bit, and I just want to do experiments like that. Let's see what happens. Why not? I mean, like, let's see what happens. I'm just gonna ignore you. I'm just gonna cut you a couple of sentences short. Once I'm gonna look at you, and once you're a racist, and is this gonna benefit me in what way? How? For the people that's looking at my job, or most likely at my job, is anybody watching this? And if they are, I'll use that. I done had owners take me to dinner, lunch and whatnot, buy lunch for me and my brother, and I get back to the job, and people are like, what in the heck? Like, where did that come from? Like, they didn't even see it. They just tripping. I'm like, man, yeah, I just got free lunch, yo. You know what I'm saying? He thought he was trying to find something out about me, but he didn't believe me, and I got some grub for us. They was like, whoa.
I would handle it differently today. That was, I think, about 4 or 5 years ago, and I would handle it differently today. But it's good for me to think about that in advance, and if a white person is coming to you with some inappropriate, to run some scenarios by in your mind and think about, and that's what I need to do, because I've had them do that. I've been with black guys, sitting around with a couple of black guys, a white female. We're sitting at the bar. After work, me and 2 male friends, and this white female is sitting down at the bar with this white male. Before I know it, she comes over and sits near us and joins the conversation, leaves this white guy sitting alone. I'm thinking, like, what the? I mean, it was just bizarre. And so it's so unexpected, it caught me off guard. But I see now the game is I've got to be the queen. I've got to be the center of attention. I've got to let my presence be known. I must be paid attention to. Particularly if it's if it's a white female that somehow is competing with you on some strange level, so I don't know.
I'd like to add a tip in terms of cutting off the conversation. I had to teach this to a very, very confused non-white male, black male. And I brought this up at the last time I talked about him. Everybody considered him kind of like the therapist of the office. So people would just come to his desk and inconvenience him from his job and what he had to do. White women, white men, and especially white women. But anyways, he's tall. So I would tell him when they come over, and actually kind of same thing that 909 was saying. See, if it's about work, definitely talk with a person. But if it doesn't have anything to do with work, you look at your watch, 1,000, 1,000, and nod your head and look and shake your head and look at your watch again and then tap on it. It's like, you know what, I got things I got to do right now, blah, blah, blah. And then if they don't really get the picture, he's the tallest person in the office. If they really didn't get the picture, I would tell them, if you're sitting down, stand up. To loom over them and let them know, because he's not a threatening person. He's a really nice guy. But it's enough for them to take, a back to his presence, and they usually would back off. So those were tips that I quickly had to teach my... I couldn't leave a brother hanging, when I saw that happening to him.
Tidbit I would throw out, I also want to get a quick news item in as well. We have it'll be 10 minutes left when I'm done. We will be back tomorrow. Professor France Windance Twine, she'll be on the program. Excited to find out if she has a white parent, among other things. Same program time. Well, actually, tomorrow it'll be 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Black female. Looking forward to it. And Mr. Fuller this Sunday. My little tidbit I would throw in, if you're in a situation where someone is, talking you to death on the job, and you need to, move along, I would say if you really want to make sure it's cool, just drop a white person's name who is in a higher position than you are. Supervisor, generally it'll probably be a supervisor, someone working over you that is white, and just say, hey, Mr. Jones or Miss Smith, if I waste too much time, I got to answer to such and such. And leave it that way. Hey, there are some white people here that I do have to answer to, so I don't want to get in trouble with them. And I think even white people hearing another white person, like, oh yeah, that nigger is trying to work well. Okay, like that. Anytime you can drop a white person's name in charge, bang, that they are the person that is most responsible for what's happening, including what you're supposed to be doing. You have to answer to them. Just let that be known that I'm just trying to follow orders, trying not to get in trouble with the white person that I have to answer to. The quick news report that I'll toss in, this was June 15th, and this is on the BattleCreekInquirer.com. BattleCreekInquirer.com. The title of this report is Western Michigan University Professor to Discuss Racism in BC Talk. A professor from Western Michigan University will discuss, quote-unquote, non-racist white identity, in quotes, during a presentation Tuesday in Battle Creek, sponsored by the Battle Creek-based National Resource Center for Racial Healing. The talk by Professor James Croteau will be at 9:30 a.m. Tuesday at the Western Michigan University Kendall Center, 50 West Jackson Street. In his presentation, The Journey Toward a Non-Racist White Identity in the United States, Croteau, a professor of counseling psychology, will explore the issues white people go through as they encounter non-white people and work towards racial healing. All of that is in quotes. According to a press release from the Resource Center, Croteau's appearance is presented by the Calhoun Race Impact Alliance, which invited the professor to continue a discussion about race that was begun by the 2010 Kalamazoo Race Exhibit. Very interesting. I'm going to try to contact this person and see if he'll come chat with us about non-racist white identity. With that, yeah, we have 8 minutes left. Feel free to share anything else. And again, we will be back tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Hit the wish list, Amazon.com. It's Gus T Renegade. And yeah, I'll mute my line. We have 8 minutes left.
I'll tell you guys what I've been thinking about when Justice asked the doctor, the one that ended her interview all early for no reason at all. Justice had asked her, does she know, can she name some white people that were more racist than her? And she said that she didn't want to, give names. So I was thinking about that, like, she did give names, like, who was she named? So I started looking up some people and stuff, and what I found was really I don't know, it was alarming for me. Some of the things that they're doing. The co-founder of Facebook and the founder of PayPal, I'm sorry I don't have the names right now, and I'm not saying not to use PayPal, not at all, but they're building ships, what they call their castle ships. They're trying to build ships that are like countries within themselves that they can live, and they're buying up farmland because they're talking about a perceived shortage of food. I mean, they're malevolent people. I mean, it's very weird and scary people. Like, they doing some stuff that I wouldn't have, I mean, even with my understanding, I never would have imagined, like castle ships where they can live, and like they're going for like billions of dollars to live there. Like, they're trying to live on the sea, and take their billionaires to live on the sea and let the regular folk, I guess, kill each other or whatever. It's his name is Teal. But anyway, man, these people that Justice was asking who their names are, you start finding out their names and doing some research on what it is that they're into. Man, these people are into some crazy stuff. Crazy. Some of them are Satanism. I found they were into Satanism, and I was really surprised.
Have you heard?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Going back to the harassment at the workplace, this was actually after hours. A group of us had left the area to a different state for training, and we were working with some other guys. And one of the guys that lived in the area invited our group over to for a barbecue with his family and all. And then everybody had a good time, and it was basically time to go. Everybody's ready to take off, and I'm following suit with the people I was with. We all had our own cars, but I was about to leave, and they're like, no, you can stay. And I was like, so I just kind of, okay. And, I was talking to, I think, the husband at the time, and everybody else kind of looked, and they kind of hung around a little bit, and then I was about to take off again, 5 minutes later, and no, you can stay. And then the guys I was with, which were all white, they kind of like put their head down and walked out. And I was still like, that's kind of strange. Why, I hadn't had that great of a conversation with, the host and his family for them and say, oh, you can hang around. And I just, first it was going over my head, and then it dawned on me what was going on, and it was all of a sudden it was like, tell me the husband's work schedule. A lot of time he doesn't get home until this hour and that hour, and I think either they got cold feet or they saw that I was either oblivious to what they originally were saying or realized that it wasn't going to take place. But it was just amazing to me that it was that bold, and I guess that the husband was the one saying, I think I found one for you. And when they invited my group from my group over to their house, and then it was time to take off, everybody's, okay, thanks for, a nice day, evening, afternoon. You don't have to leave. And again, I was the only person there, only black male out of the group. So that was one of my experiences. And also, I posted something on Gus's webpage about harassment in the workplace. I was talking about the office manager told me I had this crazy dream that we were in the shower together, and I just kind of like, well, okay. And about a month or so later, her husband stopped by to visit the office. She goes, and she had told me that she had told her husband that the dream. But anyway, she says it again in front of her husband. This is the guy I was telling you about that I had the dream I was in the shower with. And he just kind of looked at me, and his head was kind of cocked to the side like a dog hearing a strange sound. And, he's married, I'm married, and just made the comment, well, certain things the husband doesn't want to hear, and he just kind of looked at me, But that was, it wasn't, I don't know, people do crazy things, and, he didn't seem to be intimidated by, his wife making a comment originally any more than when he saw me face to face, but, talking about, they don't have to play the rules. They don't have to follow the rules that you and I would have to follow. If we were doing something like that at work, making those kind of comments, I'm sure someone would pull us to the side. If not, someone would be giving us our pink slip, So that's some experiences. That was military as well as outside of military. The last story about the shower thing was outside of the military.
White males have as much a fantasy of black men having sex with white women as white women do. If you Google this, Meet the Mandingos, you'll see the article come up about how they have these private clubs where black males come in and have sex with the white wives in front of the white husbands. And so, and also there can be a lot of danger to it. I don't know if you ever heard of this case. It was Elise Medesi. And what happened was her and her husband they were trying to file a sexual harassment lawsuit against the Navy. And what they did was they lured this black male, Brown, to their home, supposedly to have sex with the wife. And then the white husband came home and shot the black man and stabbed his wife to death to get the insurance money. So what I'm saying is these little arrangements and little get-togethers can turn deadly. And this black male lost his life thinking that this married white female wanted to have sex with him behind her husband's back, and they had both planned the wife thought it was going to be a sexual harassment. She was going to claim rape or sexual harassment, get the black man in trouble, and they were going to sue the Navy successfully. But the white husband had different ideas. He wanted to get rid of the wife and get the money. So this black male is dead because he fell for the bait of having sex with a married white female in her home. So it can be more than just a mind game. It can cost you your life.
Context of White Supremacy. We will be back tomorrow, Saturday, June 18th. We will have France, Windance, Twine. White women are always dangerous. Always dangerous. Be codified. There's still warfare on the job. Be codified. Context of White Supremacy. Signing out.